See, I have to come to realization in my life with a lot of things. And it hurts me. Like, this shit hurts. Like, when I had to wake up to my own rude awakenings and what was happening in my life, or like whatever, like, forgiven, it ain't forgotten. However, like, shit is crazy. Like, bro, the harassment, the neglect, the abuse, like, I'm over it already. And it's like, right now it's a little bit quiet, you know. However, they still, you know, feel like they gotta hack the phones or whatever. Do what you do. I don't really fucking care. It ain't much going on in there. I mean, are you enjoying me watching, you know, same sex? Hey, Zeddy. But, you know, they like what they like, you know, taste the rainbow. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But I'm going to mind my business. But, you know, I'm going to get on with it. I'm going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? Because people try to dig through your closet and dig through your skeletons. Like, what did you do? What did you go through? And some people fail to understand, you know, hey, when you go through actual trauma, it affects you in the worst way, bro. When I say in the worst way, you know, hey, R. Kelly is a prime example. You know, it's a lot of people that are prime examples of that. You know, these motherfuckers, like, why are you attracted to kids or whatever the case may be? Or you hear some adults saying, like, hey, you do gotta watch your, you know, watch your kids amongst other kids, because you don't know what other kids have been exposed to and what they haven't. There's people that raise their kids in a healthy way and they don't know nothing about that. But then it's like, it was kids like me, you know, playing house, hide and seek and stuff like that. That used to turn into hide and go get it type stuff. And people used to think like, oh, it's fun, like hide and go get it or hide and seek. And duck duck goose, what was the other one, playing house. Those were the key terms that when you was getting turned out, when you was, for me, when I was between the age of 5 and 10, that's what they would call it. Hey, you want to go play house, or you want to go play hide and seek? And these are grown ass people, mind you. We were between the age of 5 and 10, and they're like, you want to go play house? Let me tell you a secret. I tell you a secret, and you tell me a secret, and I'll keep your secret. It starts like that. And then as you get older, you know what I'm saying, as you learning, like for me, like I said, I was secluded from other kids. So like when it was time for it, I just remember that, I don't know if I had blacked out or whatever the case may be, but I was either like maybe 11 and she was like 9, and she was like, oh, let's play house. And she was kissing me on my cheek. And I was like, okay. And then it was like, what else are we supposed to do? And then it's like touching on your private parts and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh my. And when I realized something, like it had clicked in my mind, mind you, I was like 10 or 11. And I was like, this is not right. And she was like, I know this is not right. And she was quick to go like try to tell her mom like I did it first. And I was like, no, like it wasn't nothing like that. And then when I realized, I was like, oh, this is something that's wrong. And people be trying to like make it seem like, oh, you was trying to do it on purpose. Like, no, it was nothing like that. So at that point, when I was like a little girl from like 11 and up, I wasn't allowed to be around other kids because that incident happened. Mind you, I seen that same incident happen with my daughter when she was little, but it happened with her and her cousin. They was around the same age, and I walked in. I was like, "What the hell is going on in here?" You know, they was on top of each other trying to do, and I was like, "Whoa!" You know what happened? I'm trying to figure out. Here go, you know, my so-called aunt and my so-called mama. Oh, you need to lead them. No, we need to figure out what happened, what's going on, what led them to go to that, because we don't know how long they was in there doing that and how that happened, none of that. But it had flashed me back to when it had happened to me as a kid. However, me as a kid, it used to happen to me constantly at daycare, at school, after school, getting dropped off at whoever, who knows who house I was going to be at. All the girls would do that to me, and the boys would do it too. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, I didn't know no better, because wasn't nobody teaching me like, hey baby, you know, you do have a disability, you know, you probably don't understand what it means. But they took, you know, as the adults, they took advantage of that, and knowing that like, hey, she don't know no better, so they were able to like wipe it over. So when I started to have my kids, I started to understand after I had got like therapy, got my help and stuff like that. I was like, that's not normal. And it was like, no, you know, you was doing the right thing of how, you know, your response, you talking about it and things like that. And even all the way up until like certain things I didn't understand, up until the military, I had warrant officers, first sergeants, sergeant majors and stuff like that just touching me inappropriately, and me, you know, understanding like, hey, I got a job, I got a position. It was already bad enough they didn't ever want to promote me. You know what I'm saying? They didn't ever want to do proper things for my paperwork. So it wasn't going to help me because it was more of them and it's just one of me. And it was even worse. I was always by myself because I didn't have no friends. I don't understand social cues. So it's not like it's something for me to know and understand. But then it's just like, as I grew up and I started to understand, it was just like, okay, so what is it that I'm lacking? What is it that I don't understand? And the one thing I didn't know and I was lacking and I didn't understand was love. And it's like, even now, the only reason why I get it and I understand is through my kids. The love I have for my kids, baby, I will protect them. I'll ride for them. I'm going to beat you down for them, you know, because those my fucking kids. Anybody touching, like, I teach them they know zones, everything that I didn't learn until I was damn near, 16 years old, after, maybe my 10th rape at that point. I had actually learned, like, okay, is certain things that you can say. You can speak up for yourself. You can tell a person, stop. I don't like that. I don't want to be touched. And I was, maybe 19 or 20 when I married for the first time. I already had my first kid. And then I had my son. But my son, how he came about was through, you know, I was drugged and he raped me on my way to go to my first duty station. No, actually, I wasn't going to my duty station. I was going to AIT. And before leaving up to go to the next place, this man put something in my drink. Okay, he's way older than me, so it was like he put something in my drink, and the only thing I remember being in the shower, and I couldn't figure out, like, why do I feel so loopy and so tired? And I just remember, like, why are you in here? And I was barely standing up, and I just recall seeing him, like, trying to penetrate me, and I was like, stop. And he kept pushing me, and it was like, I knew if I had let him keep pushing me, I was going to fall and bust my head in the shower. And I was like, oh my God, like, no, like, I kept trying to resist him. And by then, when I realized, when I woke up, I was hanging off the bed, my clothes was off, everything. And it was just like, yo, this is fucking ridiculous. And then it was like, oh, here go my so-called mom. Girl, get over it. That's your husband, da-da-da. So I'm at AIT. I'm almost getting through training. Get through there. I'm wondering, like, dang. Everything, that's, you know, how I realized I was pregnant. I was already, when they found out I was pregnant, I was damn near 10 weeks or something like that. But I couldn't stay awake. I kept smelling everything. Here and there I would get nauseous, but not really. I can only eat certain things. And they was like, we get off time, so we went to the commissary, and then they got a little sitting dining area. I go in there. I was like, let me go eat. But one of the girls that was in the military with me, she was like, go get you a test, girl. I was like, all right, I'll just do it. I take it. It's positive. Bro, when I say I was crying, I was hurt. I was devastated because I was like, how? But, like, how? Baby, when I was able to put the pieces together and realize that, I remember my so-called mom called, oh, you pregnant? Okay, I guess. Mind you, she was utilizing him in some shape, form, or fashion. Whatever the fuck it was that she was doing with him. This man figures it out. Oh, you need to keep him around. You got a kid with him. And I do not want this man around. What part do you not understand? This man raped me. You have a son. He needs to be a father to your kid. Like, bro, you forcing something on me that I do not want, and I clearly do not need. This man raped me. He needs to be there for his kid. All right, just to appease her, because it's like I had desired my mom's approval so fucking bad because I wanted her to love me, and I just wanted her to see me in a positive light, not understanding this woman was never satisfied with anything, anyone, nothing, okay? And as it was going, she brings him to me getting ready to go to my first duty station. I was like, no, take him back home. He's not staying with me. Yes, he is. You need to make him stay. And da 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 da. So they dropped this man off, okay? Left him at my door. So I'm just like, all right, cool. So I just took me and my daughter, and we slept up front in my living room. He slept wherever he was going to sleep at. But I just knew, because what he had did to me, I was like, I got to protect my daughter, because if you're willing to do that to me, I got to protect my child. Mind you, I'm pregnant. At this point, I'm getting up to like 6 months pregnant. This man will do everything under the sun, okay? And this is plus because he had wanted his green card and his papers. Mind you, I didn't get no money from none of this. I wasn't on no fraud, nothing. I just understood, like, hey, you help me, I help you. I need to get into this military, and I'll help you get your papers. After this, we got to part ways. No money was ever exchanged. I ain't ever do this for no money. However, it goes on. I'm 6 months pregnant. Every day I'm coming home, he's starting an argument, always fucking with me. And I'm just like, okay, quit touching me. Every time he touched me, he started pushing me, slapping me, ran me up against the wall. So I'm literally having to fight him all over. That was the reason why I had left him 7 months into it and to go into the military. And I'm sitting here calling, my so-called mama, so-called daddy, like, hey, can y'all come get this man out of my house? He's doing this. He's doing XYZ. He's doing it, da-da-da. He cutting up, okay? I called the police, made a police report, whatever. Me being lucky enough to file the police report, which allowed me to go to my command, because he was trying to command them so he could get my money from the military. Because in the military, if your spouse leave or whatever the case may be, they, can be entitled to your BAH. That's what he was trying to do, was to get that money. And I was like, how the hell he figure this out? He was getting this from some Mexican boy that was in the military with us that stayed upstairs. But him and his wife was, low-key, she was fucking naive, not realizing that he was fucking around with him, because they was messing with each other. And I was just like, all right, look, whatever. So apparently he got a hold, my mama got a hold to his auntie and was telling him, what to do. Well, do this and do that and do this. I would come home and this man would do so much trifling shit. I'll come home on my underwear. He would take my underwear and like put his semen into my underwear and then leave it around in the room or something like that, and put like herbs and stuff on it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I didn't know what it was back then. I was like, bro, like, you need to stop. Me not realizing, like, I was missing a lot of my clothes, my underwears and stuff like that. This man was doing whatever, Santeria, whatever. I ain't care. So I was like, either way, I just knew he had to leave. So at that point, I remember my command bringing me into the office, and they was telling me, look, we're going to only, obligate you to get him back where he came from. Mind you, I cleared out my whole bank account because I bought a ticket for him to go home to fly into Orlando. He goes and runs off, go hide out, because I had to go to work. I get off of work, go run home to go get him, to go take him to the airport. He ain't nowhere to be found. But my brain kept clicking. I was like, girl, go look upstairs at these other folks' house. I'll go up there. This nigga's hiding out up there in this person's house. And I'm like, bro, are you serious? So I ended up having to book another flight, which damn near cleared out my bank account. Mind you, I'm all the way pregnant, and I got a kid right now, my oldest one. And she was, still potty training, so I would have to buy pull-ups here and there. So as we going, boy, when I say it was a fight or a hassle to get this dude in the car to get him away from me, it was a hassle. Like, he was like refusing. I couldn't understand, like, why is he refusing so bad to get away? Because, like, this is not working. Like, you got to put your hands on me, and that ain't love. If you got to put your hands on somebody, that ain't no damn love, bruh. So I let that go. But rewind backwards to my first, my oldest daughter's, dad. He was just something I was around with, because from the age from 14 to 17, I went mute. So I went nonverbal. I didn't know how to use my words, and didn't know what to say. But I remember, like, around 16, 17, I had an outburst, and I remember letting my mom know, like, prior to me getting there to Florida, I was raped. Like, literally, I was snatched off the street from behind where we live And they took me somewhere. I don't know where I was at to this day. All I know, it was a whole bunch of people around me. I just remember hearing a whole bunch of voices. I knew it's like I couldn't fight all these men. I knew I couldn't fight all the men, and I just had to lay there and let them take their turn. I remember running into the house like I was bleeding and everything. Go in the house, I ran straight to the bathroom. I get to the bathroom, but the dude told me right as they was doing it, you know, they had knives to me and stuff like that. He was just like, I want you to know I already knew where you live. So I guess they had already been, you know, scouting me or something like that. And he had let me go. Lo and behold, I thought he didn't even see where I went because I hid out for a little bit before I just, you know, went home. He's like, I know where you live. I know where you live. He came to the front door and was like, see, I told you. My mom's sitting there looking like, who the hell is this? Going on. I'm like, bro, like, you sitting here going off on me, and I'm sitting there dead. Like, when I say my eyes were like in shock, she going ham at the door, like looking to try to embarrass me or whatever the case may be, instead of her saying like, hey, you know, what is it? Something happened, whatever. And I just knew I couldn't say anything. And it was just like a few days after that, it was like some girls calling my phone and stuff like that. Like how I knew it was a setup, because it was supposed to be, you know, a couple of girls that were so-called friends. This is the reason why I don't do friends. Oh, girl, it might have been my cousin or somebody that, but how does anybody have my number? Y'all the only two people, you know, only 4 people I was talking to from school that should have had my number. And this girl talking about, you talking about my dad, brother, and da 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 da. And I'm like, who's your brother? You know, like, bro, I don't know nobody but these people that I talked to at school. And half the time when I was in fucking middle school, I was in honor classes, so your fucking IQ was not going to ever really equate to what the fuck I was really thinking on. And I was just like, okay, I let it go. When I told my mom about it, I just remember her just ignoring me. And I just took a shower and I just felt so fucking dirty. It was around the same time where, you know, I don't know if she was my real aunt or not, but she had died, and that was the only person that I ever felt in the world actually really loved me, wanted to protect me, wanted to take care of me. And they waited to tell me like 2 weeks later after she was dead. But anyways, fast forward to the first baby daddy. He was like low-key, like something to screw around, because after those rapes and stuff like that, I got super hypersexual, and I didn't know like how to, like, I didn't have a real outlet. So it wasn't like every time I would go do sports, would nobody help me pay for it, no nothing. So it was like the only thing I knew was like either try to hustle to get some money, and the hustle would be braiding hair. You know, that's the only thing I knew how to do, was do hair, like braid hair, do a quick weave or something like that, or babysit. So those were my 3 hustles until I got a job, working at the mall. And again, like I told y'all in the other video, I didn't really have no social skills, so it wasn't like I knew how to just like, oh, you know, this is how you talk to a boy, whatever. So most of the people I was meeting off the internet, but even then it was just like I had this rage that it was just like, I'm gonna fuck on them and then leave them and block them. And I would, and these dudes would be like, damn, she ain't gonna talk to me or nothing. So when they used to see me out, oh, so you don't know me? Like, yeah, that was me. Anyways, my first daughter, you know, that one, I ended up messing with him. The only reason why I ended up knowing it was him, because it was like I used protection every time with everybody, but it was just like this one particular time I remember I just started to chill out. I don't know what caused me to want to chill out, but I ended up chilling out. But then I went home, go to the bathroom, and the whole condom, still full of sperm and stuff, came straight up out of me. And it had been in there for days, and I was like, what the heck? How, like, I was so bewildered, because I was like, how did I not know? Like, the biggest part of it, reason being I didn't know, because wasn't nobody telling me about sexuality, wasn't nobody telling me about proper hygiene, what to look for, none of that. So everything that I had to discover about being a woman, about my hygiene, how to clean myself properly, I had to learn that on my own, like reading books and stuff like that, how to, like, I really had to learn how to be a woman. Like, I'm a real ass woman, and I don't know about this, but I did know, hey, clean your ass, clean your cuckoo, and, you know, keep it clean. But when that happened, I just remember that's when I discovered. But then it was just like being around my family and stuff like that. And before I discovered that, I was like, when I say that they were so fucking mean and hateful, you know, my cousins are getting new cars. Mind you, I was having straight A's and stuff like that. And it was like towards the middle of my senior year, that's when I just realized, I was like, they don't really care whether I graduate or not or whatever. That's when I got to that fuck it mode. And it was just like, how dare they just, do me like that? Like, they just don't care. And at that point, I just realized they didn't care. And then it was like, with them not caring, I knew I had to care at some point. But it was like, my care came in at, like, I was 4 months with my daughter, and I got into this big end fight at the club. And that officer came up to me and told me straight up to my face. He said, you understand, I'm not going to arrest you. I ain't going to do nothing, because he's like, you young, and it just seems like you a good kid. I guess he was just going off of energy. He said, you just seem like you got a good kid. You got a temper, though, but you a good kid. And he said, what I'll advise you is, I'm going to let you know, I could arrest you right now for endangerment to the child. So I'm an endanger to the child. He was like, because you're fighting with a child, and if you miscarry or anything, you have put that child in danger, because you're supposed to be caring for your womb. Mind you, this is a police officer telling me this. I ain't know nothing about that. Only thing I knew was, like, I needed to defend myself. And then once I had realized, like, oh shit, like, oh, this is a real thing. At that point, I knew it was like, I'm trying to get a hold to my, I don't call little baby daddy or whatever. But at the same time, I remember him just like, he's from New York. And I was like, well, shit. If anybody, you can go, at that time, I'm 17, 18 years old. And I was just like, well, shit, if I could go to New York, Cali or something like that, I knew I had a chance or an opportunity to go to college, get my degree, get my, stuff to, all the stuff I wanted to do, make my dreams come true. And I just basically saw him, figuring out like, oh, I'm praying from him. I knew I needed to finesse something to get to him, to get out of fucking Florida at that time and go to New York. And he was basically my escape out, and he was thinking like, oh, you're trying to start drama. At that time, that's how I knew about, them playing games. He had a baby 6 weeks. Like, my daughter is 6 weeks older than her other sister, and who knows how many kids. But I remember being there in New York with him. I ended up having to move into the shelter. I ended up staying in Harlem, and he would come over, and we do. He records it, takes the video, and sends it to all his homeboys. I was like, bro, are you serious? How? At that point, I just knew I could not ever fuck with him again, because I'm just like, this is an intimate moment. This is supposed to be for me and you. This is the first baby daddy. And I'm just like, bro, you did some shit like this? I was like, man, fucking let me get my shit. Let me get the fuck on. Whatever. He decides he wanted to slap me and hit me in my face in front of my daughter. I was like, for real? Because you can't control your temper? I bet. I remember I went into that house and got that fucking butcher knife. I said, I either kill you and your motherfucking mama or what? And I remember I was getting ready to go to you got to get the fuck on, da da da. He was just talking cash shit. I was like, at that point, I said, I'm going to remember that. I said, I want you to know I'm going to remember that, bitch. And I told him, I called him and his mama, whatever, we had exchanged words. So I'm taking my stuff, pushing a stroller, trying to carry 2 fucking luggages in a stroller. And as I'm pulling the stroller and the 2 luggages, and we going to the train station, I was getting ready to go to the D train. This man, I had to carry my daughter down to the step, take both of the luggages down, and as I took her down and then I came back up to go get the other luggage, the second luggage, he took it and threw it, and it damn near hit my baby. And at that point, I said, I never wanted to see that nigga again. Never. He showed up at my doorstep, 14 years later, or we should get a DNA test. Bitch, I've been telling you get a DNA test from the time she was born, because you the same motherfucker that came to the fucking day that I had her, held her for about 10 minutes, looked at her and talking about, oh, I'll be right back. I got to go put some money in the meter, and never came back. Yeah, that was him. You know what I'm saying? I gave birth to her. He seen that I gave birth to her. He takes the shit and go ahead and pretend like, oh, I'm going to put some money in the meter. Never came back until 14 years later. But that's neither here nor there. Second baby daddy told you had to go ahead and get the papers, send his ass onward to, where he had to go at. Third baby daddy, with my son, that I ended up catching a case where they were trying to accuse me. So if you go look up the case of Marcus Phillips Jr., Clarksville, Tennessee, you can read about it. However, when it came to that baby daddy, reason being why I don't fuck with him, because I felt like he did some bitch shit instead of him telling me what seriously happened. And me, the only thing that I could come to the resolution of everything with was, nigga, you had my kid, and you trying to tell me, oh, I'm gonna take care of it. It seems like you need a break, da da da. I'll be like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Well, why not? He is the father of this kid. He already had an older kid. So, of course, common sense will be like, hey, he should know how to take care of his kid. Baby, let's just say that one night turned into 17 months of my life consisting of not being around my kids at all. And instead of him telling me what really fucking happened, the only thing I could phantom in my mind was like, nigga, why did you do this? What happened? He told like 5 different fucking lies. However, Clarksville, Tennessee, Judge Barnes and all those people that was on that case, they made it their business to try to stick the case on me and then try to give me the charge of abuse. They put something on the fucking thing, and knowing they were fucking wrong, because I had proof, I had evidence of everything to say that I was not there when it happened. I wasn't, sure I did the right thing. I took the steps or whatever, because it was like night before, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what happened. He's saying nothing happened. My son eating normal and stuff like that. But then I noticed like this cry is way different than what it was yesterday. You get to the hospital, imagine how you would feel if a fucking doctor come to you and say, hey, we scanned your kid's head and he got a bilateral fracture to the skull. No sooner than after he done said that, doctors come in, they did some shit to his face, rushed him upstairs, and I just remember I'm in fucking shell shock. These doctors asked me 21 fucking questions. I'm looking at them and I'm telling them, and I kept repeating to them, I'm not sure. I can only tell you what his dad told me. I kept repeating that. I don't know. I can only tell you what his dad told me. When I say I went to court for 17 months, these people were trying to say, oh, no, we didn't say this, we didn't say that. Then why wouldn't y'all allow the court to allow my mom to take my other 2 kids, but not my other son? Oh, it's going to take about 3 to 6 months if we do that. Okay, we'll do the fucking paperwork so my kids all can be together. You leave my child with this chicken breast fucking family that's sitting there collecting bread after bread. And every time that I seen these people, they had different special needs kids, but every time that I saw them, they buying brand new Benzes, new Audis, just said she had bought a mansion and shit like that. I'm just like, wait a minute, this bitch is eating up this fucking money. And she was working for fucking Vanderbilt Hospital. At the same time, while I'm talking to the doctors at Vanderbilt, I remember one Dr. Richardson, oh, well, your son will never do this, and I'll be too surprised. And I'm like, all right, Dr. Alice Richardson, like this shorty was a fucking bitch. When I say a bitch, like it took everything in me not to chop that bitch in her motherfucking throat. Because I was like, I can tell ain't nobody ever bitch slapped your dumb ass, because how the fuck you talking to me, you didn't realize who the fuck I am. And I was just like, okay, I had to keep my cool at that time. And then the whole time, like I said, that my son was in the hospital for a good 3-4 months. While we in this fucking hospital, I remember I'm being in the room with my son. I hear the fucking staff and the doctors talking amongst themselves. Oh, she must be a woman on welfare, one of those women that just don't care about her kids and collect the check. So I was like, I know I'm not hearing what the fuck I'm hearing. I had to go ahead and I was like, you know what? As she was saying after they said this shit, I'm just sitting there like, this bitch is, when I say talking cash shit, this is staff reading up his report and stuff like that, gossiping, knowing they ain't even supposed to be doing none of this shit. I'm reading, I'm going, and I was like, all right, my command called me in because they had to get a follow-up on the case. So I go ahead, go take my shower, come out. I had to go put on my uniform. When I came out, the same motherfuckers that sitting there talking shit, they sitting there in shock. Oh my gosh, you're in the military? Bitch, don't talk to me. And I made it clear, and I told her straight like that, bitch, don't talk to me. Clearly, you remember you said I was on welfare and food stamps? And I walked the fuck off. And then at that point, it was just like the case just kept getting weirder and weirder. They kept dismissing all my evidence. They didn't want to hear me testify. They didn't want to hear my side of the story. None of that. However, when it came to my baby daddy, CPS lady, her name at that time was fucking Carmen. She was real buddy with the baby daddy. And I'm just like, this is getting a little bit too weird. But at the same time, like, my mom not really answering the phone and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, something weird going on. I noticed my attorney, Attorney Potter, which after my case, he stopped doing cases like that after my case. He switched to doing like personal injuries and something like that. But he ended up giving me a letter. I guess the letter came personally from somebody from them. So it was Potter. It was an older guy. He might have passed by now. And Judge Barnes. And then the female prosecutor, she walks with a limp and a cane. This old fat bitch. And then they was really adamant trying to get me a charge. He gave me a paper that clearly said if I choose to go back and retestify or press charges or reopen the case, that they're going to charge me with the same charges that they charged his dad with. I was like, how the fuck y'all gonna do that? I had nothing to do with that, and I got proof to show I had nothing to do with that. Plus, y'all are the ones that kept my kid for 17 fucking months in the system because y'all couldn't figure out what to do. I can only imagine how much money y'all had gained from that. On top of that, that same year, y'all only was saying 65 cases of dead kids that y'all wasn't reported. It was way more. It was me sitting there watching them giving kids back to, clearly these people coming in high off of everything. You can see their track marks. You can see that they was on coke, snorting that shit coming in. And you giving these same kids that we hearing loud and clear around everybody, getting beat on, getting touched on inappropriately because they needed a fix, and y'all gave them kids right back to them. But I couldn't get my kids, and I was innocent. Y'all see my house was fit. I had food. I had everything that child needed. And y'all was like, no. So at the end, like the last few months, this judge got off the case, and it was a new judge that came on to go ahead and figure this out, because he was like, look, he made it urgent, because I guess since it came across him and he looked at how long it was on there, he was just trying to hurry up and get it off of there, because he knew there was a statute that was going to come to that, on the reason being like, y'all have this kid for this long. Like, I knew, but I didn't know, and I didn't have the means or a way to go ahead and press it. So I'm sitting here asking my family and stuff like that. They gaslighting me like, Shruti, you need to leave it alone. Be happy that your child coming home. Da da da. And I'm like, are y'all fucking serious? But then when it came time for them to get in some trouble or get court cases, oh, Shruti, do you know this? Do you know that? No, fuck y'all. Y'all remember when it came to me trying to fight for my third child? Y'all ain't there. But it was time for me with the second child, and this motherfucker beating on me. Y'all know where to be found. The first one, I'm sitting here locked up in New York, but y'all was too busy trying to get us back. It was just like all that craziness. And as that case went going, that was like where my biggest shell shock came, because it was like that was the first time me being without my kids, first time ever having to deal with the system at all. And I was just like, yo, this is fucking crazy. But then, in the midst of it, I remember towards after I got my son, he came home in December 2013. At that time, I had got pregnant with my first daughter with my second husband. But we weren't married yet, but I just knew him off and on throughout the years. Crazy thing, mind you, at this point, I didn't know that this man was my cousin. I didn't know he was related to me or nothing like that. However, how he would find me or approach me was a little weird, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And then the biggest part of it, where my suspicion came up, was his family was making it their business that he needed to marry me because we had a kid. And I was just like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't ready to do it, but then it was just like, okay, look, I got these kids, they need a dad, I gotta go to work. I had all this stuff going on, but mind you, I had childcare, I had all my shit already set. Mind you, I didn't need him or nothing. But they was like, oh, y'all should do it, it's the right thing. And then it was like, you know what, me just trying to do the right thing. Like, all right, sure, we get married. Me already seeing that this shit wasn't going nowhere. Like, his fucking feminine attitude showed on, like, it wasn't even day 2 or 3. Mind you, I should have already known. It was storming and raining the day that we went to go get married. No, the first time we went, it was a no-go. The second time we went, it was like dreadful raining, like horrible rain. And as we were going, you know what I'm saying, I remember just having a conversation like, we should wait a couple of years before we have any more kids or anything like that, because I still want to make sure that I can make my career work for me or whatever. He had other plans, and I was just like, yo, this is just not going to work. However, this is before I knew what an annulment was and how to go get it. Wasn't nobody telling me, but people knew. And I was just like, I remember just confiding. I was just like, bro, like, I'm not happy. Like, this is miserable. I remember leaving, where he was at, and he was just trying to convince me to, like, destabilize me, move me out of my apartment. Mind you, I already have my apartment and everything. He was still living with his mama. Another warning sign. Get there, stay in there. His mama's car get repoed. I couldn't understand that. I was like, Didn't you say she got a good job and she been working where she's been working at for the last like 25 years or whatever? Like she was working for like Forum or something like that for 20 something years. Like, yeah. He was like, oh, I'm not sure. Mind you, she was getting money from him, so all her stuff was getting paid through him. Then it came to her. Mind you, I don't know how long she had been staying in that house, but I was like, bitch, how did you pull to just only have to pay $500 for where were you staying at that time? And she came to me like, hey, you mind? And I was like, I don't mind, because it was due to the simple fact at this time, me and my kids is there. I don't mind having to pay, one thing. Then it came from paying that one bill to want to pay something else. I was like, you know what? Let me go get my own shit, because I ain't got time to be paying nothing for no other grown ass people, and y'all ain't pulling y'all weight together. Then it got to, everybody trying to make it obvious about, oh, they grown people, they need to be pulling their weight, because the only reason why I end up falling for it, because I end up gaining sympathy off the strength of his sister. She was only 16, 17 at that time. There ain't no food in their refrigerator, no nothing. I'm like, she is a kid. I'm sitting here asking him like, why your mama ain't come back? But she's too busy, his mama was too busy out in the street talking about, oh, I'm going to see my doctor. I'm going to see the doctor. And she was dating a man that was actually a doctor or whatever. But he ended up cutting her off because she was doing too much finessing with his money or whatever. She might still be with him trying to finesse him for his money, because I feel like the house that they be living in is that man's house. However, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, because they got my kids in some kind of way. But anyways, to fast forward, with this motherfucker, I just knew something was just off. He would start arguments off anything. Things would be going great, happy, cool, and then it would be like, you're doing this and you're doing that. I'm like, yo, you picking at from stuff for nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a peaceful person. And he would just find stuff to just pick at. Oh, your hair looks like this. Oh, you need to wear this. Or you need to act like this. Or you need to, I'm like, what, bro? Like, what? Okay. And me, I was so adamant at that time, because I had that dream of, I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have the happiness, the husband, the home, and, the business and stuff like that. Like, because I understood, like, I still wanted to have me a career, family, money and all that shit. But I just wanted to do that and build together. But this motherfucker had a whole different plan. So, the whole time. So we ended up getting orders to Colorado. After that, when we moved from where he was from in Clarksville, Tennessee, and got to Colorado, this motherfucker wild the fuck out. That's when he met some girl named Elizabeth Perez or some shit like that. Now, that's how I ended up making the ties between my ex-husband, this Elizabeth chick, and then the dude that I was recently with, and all the connections and ties. Because I was like, wait a minute. His wife was Mexican, but she stayed in like Pennsylvania and Hazleton or some shit like that. And he was like, yeah, I got married to her or whatever, but it was supposed to be for some money. However, I knew he was lying, because he told me prior to, yeah, it was a homeboy that I met, and I met her through them, and I had my baby mama there. And I was like, oh, nah, you was on some finesse scamming shit. She ended up probably offering you some money so she can get her papers. But it seems like she was with your homeboy, and when your homeboy got locked up, it seems like you went on ahead and slid in while he was locked up to go ahead and get that money. And I was just like, oh, you just a finesser. So it's just like, for me, it was just like, all right, I ain't gonna trip on it, because everybody got their own way of living. You don't judge nobody by what it is that they do, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody not gonna always do that. But then it was like, I had to understand there's no honor amongst thieves. So when you learn to understand that, and I was just like, okay, Sharita, because for me, I like to see the good in people. Like, I know it's bad shit out here, but you gotta find the good somewhere. But it was like more of his bad was outweighing his good, and I was just like, bro, okay, let's see where this fucking roller coaster gonna go from. But then it was like how they said you could end up being in the same shit that what you was in before. Basically, he was doing the same shit that my ex-husband was doing. It was just like same energy, new fucking face. So I'm just like, are you gonna do anything new? Like how he would talk, like, you need to do this and do better with your kid. Like, motherfucker, why are you sitting here trying to tell me about what I need to do with my motherfucking kids? You ain't even got no motherfucking kids. Now, my first husband, I didn't know he had as many kids as he did. Like, he ended up having a kid with a so-called school friend of mine. I think Rachel. And then he was messing with the girls I was working with. He was messing with Rachel. He was messing with Kay. He was messing with anybody. He was messing with the dudes too. Because Mike was my friend for like 10 years. Like, nigga, I know you. And it was like, I ain't ever know him to be like a finesser or nothing like that. But then it was like, him, I guess something between him and my baby daddy. And I knew, like, for me, I thought, like, it's whatever. You know, I don't owe my baby daddy no loyalty. And I don't owe you none. But shit, I want some dick, so just give me what it is that I want. He gave good head, don't get me wrong with that, but hey, you ain't getting it up like I needed to. I knew at that point I couldn't really fuck with you. But then it was just like his Facebook was popping. I was like, So with Mike, he got outed on Facebook. So the person, the low, you know, the download stuff that he was doing, his, you know, download lover exposed him on Facebook because I guess he didn't come up with his money like he was supposed to, so he ended up getting outed. Reason being why I tell people ain't no reason to be on no secret about shit, because once you keep any kind of fucking secrets, you giving people too much power and too much fucking advantage over you. That's why I ain't shit to hide. Ain't nothing over here. I'm not fit to sugarcoat not a motherfucking thing for nobody. Because guess what? I'm not fit to give nobody no motherfucking power to use shit against me. Bitch, my past is my past. You want to talk about it? That's on you. That's a you thing. That's a you a problem. Because where I'm at, I'm still elevating. I'm still making money. I'm still taking care of my kids. I still got my home. I still got this and that. What you talking about? I did that and next. And then it's like people try to judge you off of that. Like, no, motherfucker, if I'm still moving and making moves and you just don't like that, okay, you just don't like that, move the fuck around. Oh, you got this many kids. Okay, if you just don't like that, move the fuck around. You got one thing that I want, and that's it. Keyword that I want. Ain't that I said that I need it, because shit, they got roses, they got bunny rabbits, they got all kind of things that I can use to self-please myself. And then, and the thing of it is, I'm okay with being by myself. And it was clear that I seen with my husband when he seen that I was having conversation with Mike, because me and Mike, we was cool, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I was willing to accept him for who he is, but it was like, you got to speak your truth to me. However, he wasn't willing to do that. So my ex-husband went after him. So they end up, you know, being cool. Well, they weren't cool. They was more than cool, okay, baby? That was doing the do. Reason being why I ended up figuring out everything as it was lining up, down to the last dude, I was like, oh shit, it's happening again. So before it could go any further, I was just like, oh hell nah, y'all ain't finna bring me no STDs, y'all ain't finna bring me no HIV, none of that shit. So you know what I'm saying, I used to make it, I still making my business to go get tested every 3 to fucking 6 months to make sure to lay, hey, because that stuff can lay dormant in your body. So I still make sure I keep up with my tests and stuff like that. And so as that was going, I just realized, I was just like, this nigga's gonna keep lying and keep lying. And it was like he was lying about shit he had no business being. And I was just like, I'm providing you a safe space to discuss what it is that you need to say about how you feel. Anytime that I left this last dude that I was dealing with, I would leave. If I wasn't around, he would make his business to talk bad about me to everyone, because I used to wonder, like, when I meet the person, they all happy and cool, but by the time I get ready to talk to them, they looking at me sideways or looking at me funny, and I'm like, what the fuck did I do? Did I say something? Then I realized, I started putting 2 and 2 together. I was like, this motherfucker is trying to break me down or make me look bad, and he was saying that I was doing all this shit, and it was really him. Like, he would sit there and he had like at least 4 dudes on the side, like actually about 5 dudes he was talking to, like fucking on. Anytime that he would leave Puerto Rico and go back to Orlando, he was fucking on some dudes, and he'll keep like 2 or 3 women to make it seem like, oh, she ain't gonna notice, she's gonna think I'm messing with them. And I made it clear to him, like, motherfucker, you think I'm worried about the bitches? Nah, nigga, I'm more concerned about a nigga with you when it came to him. And he used to get mad, like, you trying to call me gay? And I said, any more time that you keep trying to make me think of you other way, that's the only way I'm gonna think of you as a gay man. Like, what the fuck else? Like, bro, you trying to make it, you overcompensating at this point. I know the cues of what it is for a down low man or a woman. Like, my mama knew, I knew she was bisexual. That bitch loved her some pussy too. My auntie, like, that bitch just loved pussy, okay? It was a given. But I was like, let me mind my business and leave this alone. But all of, you know, shorten it as much as I can. I was trying to make it my business, like, bro, I'm trying to offer you a safe place, because I seen in him, like, he didn't want to be like that. He didn't want that. Just like with me, every time that I looked at this man, This last person I was with, every time I looked at him, I saw myself like a few years ago. And every time I told him, I see me in you, bro. I saw me struggling. Like, I'm trying to be there for you, but if you're going to keep pushing me away and keep doing this shit, I got to go. Yeah, I'm going to leave. Nigga, I wouldn't care less if you fucking leave or go. It's not beneficial for me either fucking way, but it's more beneficial for you, and I'm still willing to fucking help you. But if you're gonna keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna fuck it up, and I don't even want to be your friend. And then it was like, at that point, made it clear, like, hey, I wouldn't even want to be your friend. I wouldn't want to fucking be cool with you. I don't even want to fucking look at you, because at that point I was discovering, like, not only that, my cousins were involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you supposed to be family, and you fucking on my husband too. Like, y'all quit the fuck behind somebody or some shit. But then it was like, all this shit was all over some fucking money. Like, they were scamming, and it was like, ooh, tell her this. Like, the dude I was with, they was telling him to say this, say that. Oh, you like to do this? So they knew who I was friends with. And since they knew who I was friends with, which was this one family that stayed in my neighborhood in Beacon Hill, it was a Spanish family that I stayed with in Beacon Hill, that I considered like family. I helped her take care of her kids and everything. And one of her kids, one of her sons, was just bisexual. And he wasn't fully bisexual. He was basically acting out his trauma. He, that one son, he wasn't full bisexual. He was just acting out his trauma, and that was just for him. He just knew that was one way to make his money. The other son wanted to be trans. He wants to be a woman. And I was like, I ain't got no problem with it. Like, shit, it used to show as a kid, because he used to make it his business to be up in the business, okay? He loved tea. He loved the gossip. He loved to talk about people. And it was just like something I used to tell his mama, like, hey, you need to work on that with him, because it can eventually turn into jealousy or hate or some kind of envy. And it could be detrimental to him. And it, like, even if he is going to go, be full out gay, hey, at least have him be there in a healthy way. You know what I'm saying? Like, be healthy in it, on like how you behaving, how you talking, how you think and stuff like that, because you wouldn't want your partner to be like that. And it was just like, shit, I sat there and watched this motherfucker beat on. He had a boyfriend or a husband or whatever, and he was just sitting there beating that motherfucker. I want me an outfit. And if old boy said no, he was beating on him, okay? You get what I'm saying? And I'm just like, all right, cool. Then it was like, on top of that, she was so busy. Oh, my husband. Girl, let that man go. He like young little tenderonis, and he like your daughter. And she's like, no, Rita, it's not that. Okay, you can keep being a dumb bitch, because bitch, don't keep calling me talking about I'm depressed. Oh, I'm sad. I'm this and that. Like, no, I'm trying to help you get out of that. Oh, I need to lose weight. Okay, you not going to lose that weight, because the longer you keep staying with this man, you're going to keep eating your emotions away, because you don't want to confront this man. He's working. He's doing this. Okay, then get up off your ass. You got talents and skills too. Like, she can make bomb ass food. Like, her food was bomb as shit. She can cook. She could bake. She could do a lot of shit. And it was just like, bitch, you're to me, I'm looking at wasted talent. Then it's like this, your son want to be, a woman or whatever. I'm looking at wasted talent, because the only reason why I'm saying wasted, his attitude was shitty, which was making him, he was beautiful, but he was ugly because his fucking attitude. And I'm just like, bro, y'all just don't fucking get this shit. But then when I start putting two together, because I felt like, he was a person that I could confide to, because, you know what I'm saying? It was like, girl, what happened to your husband? Oh, I found out he was gay. Oh, girl, what? Okay. And then it was on top of that, like, this nigga I'm with, I remember, like, you got friends associated, affiliated to this motherfucker. Then when I put the pieces together, I was like, oh, hell, this nigga been fucking this nigga on the low, trying to get T on me to just justify, oh, you a whore, you're dirty, you're mean. Like, is that how you think about every fucking woman, nigga? Then just go ahead and go get you some dick. Leave me the fuck alone. But then it was just like, no, I don't desire. Like, he would tell me all the personal deep secrets, and I'm just like, well, go fix it. Like, I'm giving you fucking solutions, but you bringing me fucking problems. You going around all the fucking around San Juan trying to convince these fucking people that I'm a hoe, I'm a prostitute, when I'm having to sit there in the house and hearing them talking, she's probably doing this and probably recording this kind of video. And I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? Like, are you serious? And then once I started putting the pieces together, I was just like, you dirty bitch. Like, you sit here literally laying up with me, and you going around telling these people all this dumb shit, when he was actually a male prostitute. He was actually somebody that, you could call up on and be like, hey, I need you to finesse it. So, like, he's a romance con artist. So, like, if you need him to finesse a woman, he know how to do it. Charm him, got the words or whatever. But for me, it was just like, that shit ain't gonna go too far. Like, I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want it. You're gonna miss the best thing you ever had. Bitch, ain't nothing best about it. You still like you in your fucking 30s and you're still stealing like you're fucking 10 or 11. What? I'm not gonna pay for this. Like, bitch, you're cheap. So the biggest part of it, you couldn't even afford me. Like the meals I like to eat, I'm at least gonna pay $30 for myself. So if I go ahead and splurge, I like to splurge on myself. And then when it comes to I spends money. Like what? That's too much money. Like you complaining and crying. Like, oh, you definitely know to be here. You want to bust down, so go get you a fucking bust down. Like they're gonna be happy with you taking them to Olive Garden and shit like that. Like I'm cool. Like don't say that I'm ungrateful or nothing. Like I'll eat me some Olive Garden. I'll eat me some Chili's and shit like that. But then it's like I don't want to hear no motherfucking body complaining because motherfucker when I was dropping bands on you. You didn't have no complaints. It's like, oh, you got me that. Yes, because I actually care. I actually pay attention to what's your favorite color, what you like to eat, how you sleep, what problems you got, what you got going on. Because I'm going to study my partner if I really want to be with you. Like, nigga, what part do you not understand? Like, I was actually in love with him and I didn't understand. Like, and I remember just telling myself, like, whoa. Like, it was something that I didn't have no control over. But then it was like, nigga, I'm loving you and you doing me like this. So once I figured out, like, as soon as I told him, like, it was completely over, I dropped that bitch off at the airport. Didn't tell him no bye, no nothing. Once I figured out, I started putting the pieces together, like, oh, you dirty bitch, you fucking with this motherfucker too? Oh, shit. That I sent my message. I politely sent a message to his mama because he was sitting there trying to convince his family, like, oh, she's out here giving STDs and she's being a whore and she's talking to other people and she's doing, like, you're so convinced that I'm doing all this shit and motherfucker, the only thing I'm doing is at home with my kids reading a book, and if I do leave my home, it's going to a fucking beach to get us something to eat and go right back home. I enjoy the comfort of my home because I don't have to deal with stupidity, and I love the comfort of my home because I don't have to deal with other people's dumb shit. And he didn't get that, and I was like, because you wanted to be too busy to be out there in the streets, so you made it your business to go ahead and fucking fuck with me. Like, who does that? So once I fucking figured that out, I was just like, yo, love me and love, nah, I'm good off of it. Like the love that I'm gonna have, I'm gonna keep building on myself, and I'm gonna put that on my children. I'm gonna put that into career, business, whatever the fuck venture I want to take. I'm gonna put it into that, because when it comes to friendship, a motherfucker will be willing to betray you for any fucking thing just for a fucking dollar. And bro, if you willing to just destroy me over a dollar, like you wanted money over love, then baby, keep focusing on that money, baby. Keep doing it. Keep doing what the fuck you best at, because it's like, that right there, low-key, like, I took it personal. Like, you destroyed me? Yeah, I'm gonna tell your mama what the fuck going on. You telling my business. Nigga, that ain't business no more. When you go ahead and decide to put me in this, and then as soon as you decided to do this bullshit, I turn around, and here it is. I'm surrounded by cops. As soon as I sent this message to your mama, now I'm surrounded by cops. But you sitting there lying to your mama talking about, oh, she just started stuff because I don't want to be with her. No, bitch, it wasn't that. I had been wanting to let your ass go, and every time that I was leaving, you the one, I'm on my way, I'm catching a flight. Like, I would literally be like done with him. He'll go like 2 weeks, right? He got so used to it, and I was like, watch this. And I already knew what he was gonna do. 2 weeks later, he called me, I got a flight, I'll be there and on such and such day. I'm like, I do not want you. What part do I do not want you? I don't like you. Like, like you got tendencies and ways and habits that I'm not willing to go ahead and budge on that. Like, you have an unhealthy lifestyle because you don't know what you want. You don't know how to admit it out loud. You know what I'm saying? You still sleeping with men, and then you convincing women that you're going to be in a relationship with them long term, but you long term, you make it your business that I sit here and watch you kiki and caca like a little bitch on the phone to your homeboys, but when it's time for you to talk to a woman and do that, you sitting there disrespecting her. Oh, her coochie stink. Oh, she this and she that, and she mad because I don't want to do this. And then you go tell your family, oh, she just mad because I didn't want to do this and do that for you. Like, baby, there was nothing you was really doing for me in the fucking first place. So why are you gonna go lie to your family to make it seem like I was a fucking demon to you, versus telling your family, hey, I was catching him in the shower watching fucking gay porn, like he was sitting there getting off, like he getting his dick sucked from these people on here, and then it's my fault? Like, how is it my fucking fault? And then he's the one striking me, you know, trying to fight with me like I'm stronger than you. No, motherfucker, you almost got that ass whooped. But if my homeboy wasn't here to get me up off of you to stop this shit, nigga, we could have still went toe to toe, and you understood, like, hey, she's strong, she gonna swing too. Like, motherfucker, I'm not scared. I wasn't raised to be no bitch, and I wasn't raised to be no motherfucking punk. And it's like, you're not fit to just try to feel like you're gonna slap me around like it's gonna intimidate me. No, I'm just being quiet because I don't feel like arguing. I don't feel like fucking fighting today. So I'm just gonna let you feel like you got away with shit. And then it's like, he'll go do hateful shit like, oh, she wanna be like this. So he'll go fuck on somebody and come back and try to love bomb me and hunch on me. And I'm like, I got so fucking tired of, like, you dirty, you nasty, you ain't got no morals, you ain't got no values. So you going to tell your mama that I'm doing this and doing that to you versus telling your mama that I was trying to tell your motherfucking son, hey, go talk to your mama, go talk to your sister, go heal that, because you need to heal. Go love on your sister, go love on your mama, go love on your niece, so you can know how to love on your daughter, because your mama at home, she getting cheated on that fucking little bitty ass fucking, he looked like a motherfucking Ninja Turtle. And he's sitting there talking shit about you. So it's like, you sitting there in a house full of fucking two-faced motherfuckers, and then you got the audacity to come for me. Like, no, I want your mama to be safe. I want your mama to be strong. Because every time I come in that house, you don't think I don't feel that energy every time I was seeing your mama. Like, I wanted to hug her, but I knew she was so standoffish, like, as if I was trying to do something. Like, baby, I don't want to take your son. Your son is going to always be your son. My job is to love on him as if I was you, but I'm not you. But he got to understand that I'm not his mama. I'm his woman. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not my responsibility to carry his hand. I was trying to teach your son to love you better, to love his sister better, to love his niece better, so he can love his motherfucking daughter that he's leaving out there to go ahead and get passed around because he think it's a fucking joke. And it's like, oh my God, I was trying to help you mend the fucking relationship so you and your baby mama can at least be a little bit fucking cordial to take care of that baby girl, because she needed love. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Weta. Like, I loved it. It brought me pride and joy to be able to bring love into another child's life. Even though she wasn't mine, I wanted to bring her love too, because it wasn't fair for her to see me to love on my kids like that and she not get it. And so the same love my kids was getting, I gave to her. But he was just, this is too good to be true. You're a goody two-shoe. Like, is there something wrong with that? Is there something wrong with me actually loving you? Is something wrong with me actually wanting you to heal? Is something wrong with me wanting to stand beside you when you working through this shit? Like, I'm looking to be here with you. I ain't no Coretta, and I'm not looking to be Coretta, because Coretta went through some shit. But babe, I'm looking to be, for us to be strong, to understand, like, hey, I'm getting to this point. Okay, what we're gonna do is to make sure so we don't proceed to go ahead and step out on each other, because what we do, we move as a team, we move as a unit, we move with love, we move with understanding, we move to have a clear understanding that there is no secrets. But you want to be secretive, you wanted to lie, you wanted to betray me, you wanted to belittle me, you wanted to talk bad about me, you got your family looking at me like shit. So it was like, God forbid we had kids. Like, nigga, I wouldn't want my kids around you nor your motherfucking family. And then I'm that girl that I'm gonna keep going. Like, nigga, I ain't gonna you ain't gotta worry about child support for me, because motherfucker, your ass gonna be singing that Beyonce, sorry. me and my baby gonna be all right. We gonna live a good life. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You won't see no tears fall out my eyes. I go call Becky with the good hair type shit. That's what it is. And it's like, how dare you do me like that? Like, when I say I was hurt and I took that shit so personal, but it's like, now it's like, it's mud under the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? You did what you did. It is what it is. But how you fucking did that, like, you immediately, because you felt like you was being portrayed on, motherfucker, it's speak your truth, bitch. And you gonna call the police to have them trailing me, and you got them thinking I'm selling drugs and shit. Like, motherfucker, the only drug I'm a bitch smoking on is weed, okay? I feel like Johnny Aiko. The only drug a bitch is on is weed, okay? Marijuana. And I got a medical card. I got a card for it. I got a card for that shit. And you have the nerve and the audacity to do some shit like that. Like, nigga, you think you gonna come back and, oh, I love you and I was trying to do, no, you wanted to do what you wanted to do. We go to the places that you wanted to do, and it's just like, I'm gonna let you do you, and I'm gonna let you be in your feminine energy, as you showing so much of your fucking feminine. You want to be a man. Like, well, bitch, somebody got to be the man, because clearly you're not. And it was like, he tried to make it to go against me, and it's just like, I learned my lesson, because my ex-husband would say, oh, you try to be a man. Like, motherfucker, apparently I gotta be the man, because y'all don't know how to be the fucking man. And clearly it's showing that I'm being more of a man that you are, because I can stand up to some truths. I can stand up to my wrongs. I can stand up to my rights. But I'm gonna stand up for my motherfucking self. At this point, here forward, I'm standing up for me. Anybody got to come, hey, I'm just going to have to handle it right there. And that's that on that. But I still send him love because he was the first person that I just really felt like, yo, we got something. We could be honest with each other. We could be safe with each other. But it's like, it was clear as day. That wasn't a motherfucker that was a motherfucker that would betray you right there in your face. And he was the main one doing it. Like, you giving them too much credit. Like, he would get mad when I'd be like, they doing this and this and this to me. And then, like, once I started putting the pieces together, reason being why he was getting so mad, because he was the one participating in the shit, doing it worse than what they were trying to do. And I was just like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You learn some, you win some, you lose some, but you live to see another day. I remember that shit on Friday. But it is what it is. And if I had to tell you again, you fucked up, Joshua, but I still, you know what I'm saying, I got love for you, but I would never fuck with you again. And I say that verbally, same to my ex. Out.